It's your man Ed Wood, True to Game videos coming back at you. And I noticed a lot of you have been on setting kicks recently. Now, a setting that has really captivated my mind for some time I want to do this video, and I think it'd be a good time to put it out with all the interest people are showing in that particular section of RPGs currently. Now, that is a setting created from the television show Spartacus Blood Sand and Spartacus Gods of the Arena. Now, in that series and miniseries, they present, for those of you that don't know, I'll give you a quick synopsis. They present a ludus and the lanista who controls that ludus, the manager of a ludus, the owner of the gladiator slaves that are put to task in fighting in these arenas. It takes place in Capua, and the lanista in both shows is played by John Hanna, and his name is Quintus Batiatus, or Good Batiatus. And I absolutely love saying that. I've dubbed one of my friends Batiatus, and I just mess with him endlessly about that. I call him Good Batiatus. He gets mad because Batiatus is kind of shady. It also has playing his wife, Lucy Lawless plays his wife as Lucretia. Now, I absolutely hate the show Xena. I think it is trash. I love the scenery. I love the setting. I love the props that they used. The show was utter trash. And the guy that, I think he directed Xena, I know he directed either a lot of or all the Hercules, Michael Hurst, is actually the person who directed several of the episodes of Spartacus Blood and Sand. I'm not positive about Gods in the Arena. That's why I said, man, this is going to suck balls, but it doesn't. It is an absolutely outstanding show. The goriness, the violence, the way that they pop it off. A lot of people say it's very reminiscent of 300 in its style. It's very scintillating combat. In Gods of the Arena, they actually have, I forget, I'm blanking on the name of the style, but a guy with a net and a trident. They kind of give you a little history of that, and it shows them fighting. They're not like trying to throw the net on people so much as he's trying to like whip it around their feet and trip them with it. It's like, oh, that's an awesome style of fighting, and I'm definitely stealing that and using that for a character in the game. I have that already ready to go, a trident net fighter, and I've always been vaguely interested in that style. But in the old movies, it just looked kind of butt. But the way they have the guy fighting in Gods of the Arena, it looks sweet, like he's trying to sweep people, and it's really, really nice looking. Now, the way I've devised to play this game is the often unsuccessful Troupe style of playing. And if you don't know what Troupe style of playing is, it's different. You're not in control of one character. You play a large number of characters that are operated through different scenes, essentially. Now, the way I would propose someone runs this is basically they show the competition between different lanistas, different individuals that are running and managing these gladiatorial houses. And you could essentially set it up political in that aspect, where you're playing a Vampire the Masquerade political style of game. Now, you're not playing vampires or anything, but just to get over that political aspect, where you're cutting each other's throats, slicing each other's backs, having to kiss people's asses to get what you need and to do your politics and your bidding. And the lanista also could have other outside interests outside of the ludus, outside of the games. And each player operates a lanista in the particular area, and they're against each other. They're opponents predominantly, but some of them may even make friendships and deals and such, and then just ready to backstab one another, which is great. Now, each player also controls not one gladiator, but a gladiator inside of each house. And if your gladiator dies, hey, no problem. New slaves are always bought. You come in, get a new slave, boom, boom, boom. You're building him up on the lower end circuit. That particular area, you're not the champion. And they have a champion to each of the arenas, to each of the houses. And I think that would really make an intriguing style of play. I like the Troupe design style of play. I think it's very interesting when you have a large number of characters at your disposal. It definitely also can kind of soften the blow when you're playing such a violent scenario where your lanista might get killed, your gladiators might get killed, and your gladiator may also be promoted to Doctori, which is the instructor of the gladiators in this particular case. And the Doctori in this show is played by Peter Mincer, who's an awesome actor. His character's name is Animaeus, but they typically just call him Doctori. He has a whip, and they take the whip and it's all like slow motion. is cracking it, a big crack sound. It is awesome. I absolutely love him in this show. And Gods of the Arena is actually a prequel to Blood Sands. However, the reason they made it is because the guy playing Spartacus ended up getting cancer. Andy Whitefield, I didn't write his name down. So I don't know exactly, but something like that. He ended up getting cancer, could not return to play the role. I think they've already finished season 2. They're going to be releasing that, I think, either the beginning of next year or late this year, like December late. But I would guess it'd be out like in January. And so they recasted the lead of Spartacus, but Spartacus isn't even in the scene. You can't watch the prequel first because the last episode of the prequel will ruin the first season for you. It flips to the very end of season 1, so you have to watch season 1 first and then go to the prequel. I strongly recommend anyone watching this. It was an absolutely phenomenal series for anyone. Pretty much anyone who likes role-playing games. If you like politics, it has it. If you like the Dungeons & Dragons style of combat and high action, it has that. If you like, really quality acting, it has that. Great scenery, great set. It's filmed in New Zealand, and it's really, a lot of great, interesting stuff in this show that goes on. The way that the slaves have to call out a living is just really fascinating, and then it's a very dirty show. You'll see Spartacus come and just take a dump, like he goes up to basically almost like an open air porta-john in there in one of the scenes. It just drops one off in there, and it just so grimy in places, which it really gives it a very realistic feel to it. Not necessarily say everything is 100% historically correct or anything of that nature, but it feels very interesting to me. I really like this show. Would strongly recommend. It was one of, in fact, I think. Yeah, I probably had to say it's my favorite show on TV right now. I probably had to put that as number 1. I really gobble those episodes up when they come out. It's on Stars, I think, maybe Encore, whichever one of those networks. But you can also find it on Netflix. Now, that's basically by design there. You play a gladiator in each. Basically, you could even bring them in as brand new slaves. And the Gods of the Arena, they bring in 2 of the main characters in Blood Sand. They bring him right as slaves. Crixus, who is just an awesome kind of kick-ass guy. He's played by Manu Bennett, and I guess he's Polynesian, at least part Polynesian. But I thought he was a white guy. He plays a Gaul, but the name Manu is a Polynesian name. His character Crixus, they bring him as a slave, and he's kind of a kick-ass slave. And then they bring in Nick Tarabe, who plays Ashur, who's more of he's more like the fighter thief, and they definitely showed that man sneak attack a man, just straight up bluff roll sneak attack. He just drops him, and that was tight. But it is interesting to see that D6 versus D10 hit points, and it does end up jacking my man Ashur, and that they were going over our group and say whose character's who, and I was Ashur. That's who I got. And he's awesome. I'm not going to give you any spoilers on this, but just one little scene he has in Blood Sand I love to talk about. He's speaking with good Salonius. And actually Salonius and Batiatus is friends. And Salonius is another Lanista in the show. Great actor, played by Craig Wrightson, and just a great job with the character. He's so slimy. You just want to smack the piss out of him. You get such great heat. I think he's just absolutely brilliant. And they were boys, so that makes it even more in the second season that that Salonius and Batiatus, they were like the best of friends. They call each other brother and everything. And Salonius jacks Batiatus, and that's fine to tell you that because you'll already know that coming right to season 1 where he first appears. But Salonius tries to get Ashur to turn against Batiatus, and he bribes him, and Ashur comes back another scene, throws the money back in his face, and he goes, I might be a villain, but I'm not your villain. And that's when they just jack Salonius. But, that was just brilliant. As you could tell, I was kind of gushing as I really enjoy this show, but I think that really presents an interesting style to implement and employ and enjoy, if you understand, that Troupe style of playing. And you bring them in, basically fresh new slave gladiators. They work up, maybe they become champion. Maybe one of them gets beat down and becomes like the Doctore, or he gets beat down and ends up getting jacked just because like a household slave. And then other horrible things for failure, like being sent to the mines. Like the gladiator slave, that's like a good thing to be a slave, is to be a gladiator. You imagine that, right? You had to fight and get killed. To be like, that's horrible. But to them, no, that's great. They have this honor, they have this brotherhood of the gladiators, and this whole propaganda they have put in their minds. But then the other side is the mines, and well, apparently back in the day where there's no safety equipment, no OSHA, no nothing, the mines was a jack, and the gladiators that would get messed up would be sent off to the mines, but a few of them would sort of be retained if they had other skills that could be used in the house in other ways. That's quite interesting as well. There's also the slave girls in the house. You could even go to another extreme, like have somebody play one of them as well for openings of the political, because they basically get to position to see lots of things. They can pass information off, you know, if you wanted to go that way, you know, to employ multiple characters per household. But it really provides a great interest because there's always that ability. Once your gladiator gets killed, just bring another one in. Boom, you start off with another first level gladiator brought in, and you can even do the cut scenes, the shh, and just show them being bought. And you know, your good battle artist just looking the people over and just like, oh, well, this is the one I want. And then of course that's the character that you bring back in for that gladiator house. And the house itself might even be completely destroyed and wiped out. You know, and there's always an opportunity to bring another Lanista. Now, you couldn't just be dropping Lanistas like that. It had to be a big deal when a Lanista died. It would have to be a big deal to bring another Lanista in, but you could do that where you brought another one in. But you could also have the whole city sort of developed where the Lanistas are able to interact with that city and exchange to attempt to garner political positions, to attempt to garner more money, to sort of, you know, kiss the ass, kiss the ring, however you want to put that, of the higher up, the ones that are controlling the gladiatorial games. And in that sort of situation, it works very similar almost to like a vampire style, as I said, where you have the individuals that control the gladiator games, who gets where on the cards, and that's a big deal. And that's what would function very similar to style to a Prince of Vampire game, where the other characters are coming and groveling, trying to be friends, trying to like pay them bribes, and they come with all sorts of situations for Lanista and how they go about doing that, whether they're providing their slave girls as sexual favors, or they're giving them money, you know, or they blackmail him, or they threaten him, or whatever sort of tack they take. You could really develop some very interesting things there to showcase a great myriad spectrum for games. I'd be kind of interested to hear what people think about that, if that game sounds even vaguely fun to anyone. What system you think that would best operate under. I certainly think of quite a few systems you could run it under. I would probably go with the old World of Darkness, some of their Dark Ages rules, implement those, and run it that way. You could also use, of course, Savage World or basic role-playing. There's a myriad. I think it would work fairly poorly with D&D, particularly for the Lanistas. I guess for the gladiators, it would work okay running it with a D&D system because it is very heavy combat, and the combat in this show is absolutely brilliant. So you would really need to give vivid, bloody, gory descriptions of how, you know, just do that slow motion of the gladius is just slicing through the air and then slicing right through the jugular, and the blood explodes outward, but so slowly does it rush back and then descend to the ground. And really, every bit of damage that's inflicted, you should really give that horrid, gory description, because that is much in vain with Spartacus. So I'd like to hear what you guys think of that idea as a setting, what you guys think of the idea of troop role-playing. I'm not sure if anyone's actually touched on that. There's probably a video somewhere, but that troop-style role-playing, playing more than one character, but in different positions, and it would be an easy way to implement it through this game. So thanks for watching, guys.